Hello, I'm Jimmy Carr and I've been making the little tiny quiz of the lockdown for the last week. So we put them all together now for a not so little quiz of the lockdown. And if you do spectacularly well, you can comment below. And if you do horrifically badly, also comment below. And if you've got ideas for questions, it's kind of tricky coming up with ideas for questions. So if you've got any ideas for questions, please comment below and get in touch. We're on all kinds of social media. Let's get going with today's general knowledge questions. On a standard dartboard, what is the lowest number that cannot be scored with a single dart? So what's the lowest number that cannot be scored with a single dart? Good luck. Question number 2. One instrument is in every piece Chopin ever wrote. Which one? So one instrument's in everything Chopin ever wrote. Which instrument? Number 3. What do Baron's Court, Finnegan's Wake, Hell's Angels and Howard's End all have in common? So what do Baron's Court, Finnegan's Wake, Hell's Angels and Howard's End all have in common? Where is someone who's Bayesian from? Could be easier. Where's someone who's Bayesian from? If you're Bayesian and you're watching this, that's an easy one. Where is St Edmund buried? Could be easier. Where is St Edmund buried? Okay, so for the second part of the quiz today, I'm going to ask you some movie questions. Now, I'm not going to base it on obscure bits of trivia, so what I'm going to do is ask you to think laterally. I'm going to give you some chapter titles from DVDs, and I want you to name that film. So, first up, Just Full Sex, Tarts and Vickers Party, Darcy's Exclusive Interview. So those are all chapter headings for which film? Okay, next up, 3 DVD chapter headings. A Phone Call from the Bank, Little Things That Are Quite Important, Cherry Tree Lane. Okay, next up, 3 DVD chapter titles. Lost at the Gas Station, Who Will Andy Pick? Pizza Planet. Okay, name that film. Those are the DVD chapters. And here's the next. Murder and Morning Sickness, More to Life Than Money, Wood Chipped. Name the film. And the last set. Frank and Beans, Cleaning the Pipes, Build Me Up Buttercup. Name that film. I asked you, what was the lowest number that cannot be scored with a single dart? 21 is 777, 22 is 11, so it's 23. There, darts fans, well done. Finally that bit of knowledge came in handy. I asked you what instrument appears in every piece Chopin ever wrote. It was, of course, the piano. It's a piano guy. I got you thinking about Baron's Court, Finnegan's Wake, Hell's Angels and Howard's End. The answer is none of them have got an apostrophe, if you're spelling them correctly. I asked you where someone who's Bayesian is from. Barbados. And for question number 5 in the general knowledge, I asked you, where is St Edmund buried? Quite a logical one, you probably could have worked it out. St Edmund is buried in Bury St Edmunds. Stands to reason. Now for our movie questions. Okay, so the chapter titles in DVDs, you had to name the film. Just Full Sex, Tarts and Vickers Party and Darcy's Exclusive Interview are all chapter headings in the Bridget Jones Diary. A Phone Call from the Bank, Little Things That Are Quite Important and Cherry Tree Lane are all chapter headings in Mary Poppins. Lost at the Gas Station, Who Will Andy Pick and Pizza Planet are all chapter headings in the original Toy Story movie. Murder and Morning Sickness, More to Life Than Money and Wood Chipped, all chapter headings in Fargo. And finally, Frank and Beans, Cleaning the Pipes, and Build Me Up Buttercup, all chapter headings in There's Something About Mary. Okay, question number 1. What do the following have in common? John F. Kennedy, Batman, Marco Polo, and John Lennon. You definitely know this. I mean, when I tell you the answer, you'll go, oh, it's one of those. So John F. Kennedy, Batman, Marco Polo, and John Lennon. What do they all have in common? What links them? Okay, question number 2. I want you to name the 6 US states that begin with the letter NE. Pause the video if you need more time. I'll wait. Welcome back. Did you pause it, or did I just look like a dick? You made me look like a dick, didn't you? Fair enough. Question 3. A little bit of happy history. The date is late 1946. The place is Palestine. A Bedouin shepherd whose nickname was the Wolf. Terrible nickname for a shepherd, the Wolf. Not really held in high esteem by his friends. Anyway, he was looking for a lost sheep, presumably, and went into one of the Qumran caves looking for it. He didn't find the sheep, but what he did find was extraordinary. What did he find? Okay, question number 4. It's a short one. What links Bufflehead, Donald, Smee, and Huey? What links Bufflehead, Donald, Smee, and Huey? And question 5. In the 14th century, King Robert chose a certain creature as the national animal of Scotland. Which one? And the clue is, it's still Scotland's national animal. If you're watching this in Scotland and you don't get this, leave. You're not welcome. I'm going to ask you some topical questions now, which aren't about you know what. Since hardly anything else has happened, I'm expecting high scores. Okay, so question number 6 today. With humans trapped inside, it's been down to nature to make the news. Sinta, an orangutan in Indonesia, has started copying something done by the humans who look after her. What is it? Now, I realise there is some debate about the pronunciation of orangutan, but I'm going with orangutan because it's always been orangutan, and I'm sort of sticking with it. I'm guessing the orangutans aren't bothered either way. Okay, question 7. We all found out who the next Prime Minister is going to be. His name is Mr. Wicks, and every morning he makes red-faced, sweaty messes out of the nation's mums. Before all this, he had a book called Lean in 15. His next book is all about the diets of babies who've just stopped breastfeeding. What's it called? Think about it, it can only really be called one thing. His last book was called Lean in 15. Come on. Okay, question number 8. We've been watching lots of celeb fest like Elton John's I Heart Living Room concert for America. Which one of the following did not perform at the All-Star event? Was it Billie Eilish, Dave Grohl, Andrea Bocelli, or Mariah Carey? So who didn't perform at Elton's I Heart event? Question number 9, staying with A-listers, which Hollywood star surprised fans by revealing he's friends with Johnny Vegas and that his mate Johnny is helping the St Helens Rugby League team to do local deliveries to those that need them? And while we're here, a shout out to Johnny Vegas. Well done, mate. Question 10 for today, last question of the day. And we were all glad to see the happy ending to the story of the Australian astrophysicist who was trying to invent a no-face touching gizmo and ended up with magnets up his nose. Can you remember which city the accident-prone boffin lives in? The magnets didn't kill him, they just got stuck up his nose. I mean, it is a stupid reason to have to go to hospital right now. They need those beds. I asked you, what did John F. Kennedy, Batman, Marco Polo and John Lennon, what do they all have in common? Well, you probably know that JFK, John F. Kennedy, is the name of an airport in Queens, New York. You probably also know that John Lennon is an airport in Liverpool. Marco Polo, it's an airport that serves Venice. And of course, Batman Airport. It's in Batman, which is of course a big city in Turkey. You knew that, right? Batman, there's an actual place called Batman. Sweet. Anyway, they're all airports. Very satisfying. Okay, I wanted 6 American states that begin with NE. You got the 4 news, right? You got the 4 news. The 4 news were easy. New Jersey, New Mexico, New Hampshire, and New York. Of course, you got those. And then you got Nebraska, right? Of course, you got Nebraska for 5. Did you get number 6? Did you get Nevada? You did. Well done. Have a bonus point, I guess. Have 12 bonus points if you want. I don't care. Question 3 was that long story about a shepherd that was nicknamed the Wolf. Weird nickname for a shepherd. Anyway, never mind how suspect he is. What did he find in a cave when he was looking for a sheep? Well, what he found was the Dead Sea Scrolls, which are, I hardly need tell you, scrolls. I should know more about them. Question 4. Bufflehead, Donald, Smee and Huey. What do they all have in common? I can tell you they're all ducks. 2 fictional, Donald and his nephew, Huey, and 2 actional kinds of real ducks. Remember ducks? When we used to go outside? Oh, more quiz. And for question 5, I asked you what has been Scotland's national animal since the 14th century? Come on, think about it. It's the unicorn. Yeah, and I'm sure we've all been enjoying the recent footage of unicorns running wild in the deserted streets of Edinburgh. Now the answers to the topical, but not about that thing questions. I asked you what habit Cinta the orangutan had picked up from watching people. I could tell you, she started washing her hands. She's not singing happy birthday while she does it, but still, it's impressive. Huh. We talked about Joe Wick's book, Lean in 15. I asked you what the sequel aimed at babies coming off breastfeeding is called. It is, of course, Wean in 15. You can see what he's done there. Lean in 15, and Wean in 15. Well done. I asked you who did not perform at Elton John's I Heart Living Room concert for America out of Billie Eilish, Dave Grohl, Andrea Bocelli or Mariah Carey. The answer is Andrea Bocelli. And in case you're sure you remember him being inspirational in Italy, that was on the other one. That was on James Corden's Late Late Show Home Fest. That's the one you're thinking of. It was sort of a tricky question, that one, because he was sort of on the next day on CBS with James Corden. So, I mean, if you didn't get it, you didn't get it, but I was being a bit of a dick. I asked you who had been celebrating Johnny Vegas's neighbourliness. It was, of course, Russell Crowe. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Hi, Russell. And that Australian astrophysicist lived in, you know, the one with the magnets up his nose, not Sydney, obviously, not Perth, not Canberra, Melbourne, ladies and gentlemen. The guy with the magnets up his nose is in Melbourne. What do these songs have in common? Bad Romance by Lady Gaga, Psycho Killer by Talking Heads, Lady Marmalade by LaBelle, and Denise by Blondie. What have all those songs got in common? Question 2. A simple true or false. Apple stopped making new iPods in 2019. True or false? Is that true or false? So, I mean, you've already got a 50-50 chance of getting that right. Question 3 involves a tiny little bit of general knowledge and a tiny little bit of maths. I apologise. Okay, take the number of signs of the Chinese zodiac and add them to the official number of Donald Trump's children. And if you're mathematically inclined, I can tell you that the answer is a prime number. What is it? I'll tell you what, if you can name all of the official Trump kids, you can have a bonus point. Question 4. 6 consecutive capital letters of the alphabet have vertical mirror symmetry. That means the left half is a reflection of the right half. These are capital letters we're talking about. The left half is exactly the same as the right half, and there's a run of 6 of them in the alphabet. You knew that, right? So which alphabet run of 6 letters all have that vertical symmetry? Question 5. What's the most used noun in written English? Yeah, easy. What's the most used noun in written English? Just think of everything you've ever read, ever, and count up the nouns, and the one that's happened most, it's that one. Got me an easy way to work it out. For the next 5 questions, I'm going to show you some emojis, and I want you to say what movies they represent. For example, if I showed you a fish and a male parent, you would say Codfather. The Godfather. Got it? It's that sort of torturous. Here's the first question. Okay, so that and that. Remember, you can press pause if you need more time. Here's question 7. What movie is it? Okay, question 8. That and that, yeah. Answers coming later. Here's question 9. It's satisfying when you get it. Question number 10. Have you got it? What links Bad Romance by Lady Gaga, Psycho Killer by Talking Heads, and Lady Marmalade by LaBelle, and Denise by Blondie? Okay, the answer was they all have lyrics in French. Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Well, maybe in a couple of months when this is all over. Question 2 was, did Apple stop making iPods? Is that true or false? Well, things change, don't they? By the last time I checked, it is false. Apple have not stopped making iPods. Huh. Who knew? Who thought it was a trick question and thought it was like, oh, actually, it was like 2012. No, they still make them. Question 3. There are 12 signs of the Chinese zodiac, and Trump has 5 acknowledged children. So that's 5 and 12 plus 5 equals 17? Yeah, Rachel Riley would be proud of me. So 17 was what you were looking for. If you wanted bonus points, Trump's offspring are Ivanka, Eric, Tiffany, Barron, and of course Donald Jr. And I reckon Donald Trump would get, he'd get 3 of the 5. I don't think he'd remember Tiffany, and I think Donald Jr. just would be a bit of a facepalm moment for him. For question 4, I asked you which 6 consecutive letters of the alphabet have vertical mirror symmetry. You've got to plough right on through the alphabet to get to these. Did you make it? It's T, U, V, W, X, and Y. And question 5, the most used noun in written English is time. Yeah, we've got a lot of it at the moment on our hands, haven't we? It's the 55th most used word, the most used noun, and the other nouns in the top 100 are person, year, and day. If you're interested, I can feel you're not, I'll move on to the next question. I'm so sorry. Now the answers to the emoji movie questions. Nice easy one. It was Rocky. Of course it was Rocky. If you wrote anything else down, I mean, wow, please get in touch, let me know what it was. There's a clock and a briefcase representing work. Remember that? Work. You used to go there, like a commute. Do you remember? You didn't spend all day with your family? Yeah, you used to look forward to seeing them, didn't you? Anyway, okay, and a certain citrus fruit, it's a Clockwork Orange. Probably best not to watch that for a while. Bit of a downer. 8, someone furious, and a bovine creature. That was Raging Bull. And 9, we've got a magic wand, like a wizard might use. It's the Wizard of Oz. And number 10, some flew, sorry to remind you, and they're above a baby bird hatching, so that's one flew over the cuckoo's nest. One flew over the cuckoo's nest. If you haven't seen that in a while, watch it. It's actually about communism. I didn't realise that until I watched it again last year. It's very good. in Switzerland, it's illegal to own only one of certain pets. Name one of those pets. So in Switzerland, you can't own only one of certain types of pets. So which ones? Question number 2. In the Tour de France, who is awarded the Lanterne Rouge? It's a kind of red shirt. So who wears the red shirt in the Tour de France? Question 3. It's one of those ones that sounds hard, but which you really ought to be able to work out. Okay? Which European capital city is contained in the common name for calcium sulfate hemihydrate? So which European capital is contained in the common name for calcium sulfate hemihydrate? Sounds clever, but really pretty easy. Question 4. Put these people in order of the age they died. That's right, it's a question about death in a lockdown quiz. Maybe I'll rephrase it. Okay, put these people in order of the age each of them reached, youngest to oldest. Okay, you ready? The people are Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, Mozart to his mates, John Keats, Emily Bronte, and Kurt Cobain. They all went too soon, but who went soonest? And the final general knowledge question, Ringo Starr is credited as solo writer on only 2 Beatles songs. Name either, or both. What the hell? Now, for our fun questions, not general knowledge, that's not fun, that's real knowledge. But for our fun questions today, I'm going to give you the names of 3 characters from a movie. They might not be the most well-known characters, but I guarantee you will know the movies. You've just got to work out what movies am I referencing here. Okay, so question number 6. Screaming Villagers, Lord Farquaad, and Fiona. Which movie? It's an easy one to start. Question 7. Friendly Psychopath, FBI Director Hayden Burke, and Agent Starling. What's the film? Could not be easier. Won't be stumping anyone there, unless you're under 30, in which case good luck. Question 8. Which movie features Dimpled Woman on Train, Nearly Headless Nick, and Madam Hooch? Question 9. Which film do these characters appear in? High School Band Audition Judge, Clock Tower Lady, and 1985 Radio Announcer. What's the movie? And finally, which film features Marcellus Wallace, Jules Winfield, and Honey Bunny? Which pets you must have at least 2 of in Switzerland? It's quite a long list, but if you've got any of them, well done. Okay, guinea pig, mouse, gerbil, rat, rabbit, daegu, chinchilla, Japanese quail, macaw, cockatoo, parakeet, parrot, canary, finch, or lovebird. You've got to have at least 2. And the law is there to stop them being lonely. Oh, it's adorable, isn't it? Well done, Switzerland. What a sensible law. Okay, in the Tour de France, I asked you who wears the red shirt. And it's the rider in last place. Yeah, the only one not on drugs has to wear a red shirt. I asked you which European capital city is contained in the common name for calcium sulfate hemihydrate. Well, I can tell you, calcium sulfate hemihydrate is better known as plaster of Paris. So the answer was Paris. I mean, if you knew that calcium sulfate hemihydrate was plaster of Paris and you didn't get Paris, phenomenal. Okay, question 4 was the one about the not so ripe old ages of 4 people, and the order they should have gone is as follows. Keats, who lived to just 25. Kurt Cobain, famously a member of the 27 Club, tragically died. Bronte, who reached 30. And Mozart, positively long in the tooth, he died at 35. Quite a depressing question, not quite sure why I put that in. Okay, number 5, I asked you to name either of the Beatles songs written by Ringo Starr. If you are a smart ass, you said Don't Pass Me By from the White Album, and everyone else put Octopus's Garden from Abbey Road. If you got both, award yourself an extra point, and yeah, well done. The following 5 questions, I gave you 3 characters from a movie, you just had to name the movie. Okay, I asked you which movie features screaming villagers, Lord Farquaad, and Fiona is, of course, Shrek. Question 7, Friendly Psychopath, FBI Director Hayden Burke, and Clarice Starling are all in The Silence of the Lambs. Of course they are. Number 8, Dimpled Woman on Train, Nearly Headless Nick, and Madam Hooch. They're all in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I think you get a point just for saying Harry Potter, if I'm honest. Number 9, High School Band Audition Judge, Clock Tower Lady, and 1985 radio announcer are all in Back to the Future. And an easy one to finish, number 10, Marcellus Wallace, Jules Winfield, and Honey Bunny are all in Pulp Fiction. Okay, let's have 5 general knowledge questions to kick off. The first one is about music. What do the following songs all have in common? Tonight by New Kids on the Block, In Your Eyes by Kylie Minogue, Bicycle Race by Queen, and Ashes to Ashes by David Bowie. What do all those songs have in common? Question 2. The Mediterranean. Its 2 biggest islands start with the letter S. Name them. The next 3 begin with the letter C. Name them as well. Probably 2 points on offer if you get them all, but yeah, have a go. So 2 biggest islands in the Med begin with S. The next 3 biggest start with a C. What do you got? For question 3, you might need a pen and paper for this, or just a very good memory. Put these kinds of Coke in order from oldest to newest. Vanilla Coke, Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, Diet Coke, Twisted Mango Diet Coke, Cherry Coke. Put those in order. When did they first arrive on the scene? Question 4. I want you to identify a word. It was created in 1976 by the scientist Richard Dawkins in his bestseller, The Selfish Gene. And it has come to describe an idea, behaviour or style that spreads. Actually, let's not use the word spreads, which is transmitted. Actually, that's no good either. Which becomes more and more popular. That's it. What is that word? And our last general knowledge question of the day. Is the Earth closer to the Sun on the 3rd of January or on the 3rd of July? So is the Earth closer to the Sun on the 3rd of January or the 3rd of July? And no cheating, don't just look outside and check and compare it to how it looked yesterday. Next is the bit of the week where you get to multiply things. Yeah, each time I give you 2 clues and you've just got to multiply them together to get the answer. So pen and paper ready. This is to keep the old grey matter working and also to appease Rachel Riley, who I've not seen in a while. Think of me as the Joe Wicks of arithmetic. Okay, let's start with one you can do in your head. Okay, so question number 6. Number of stations on the Monopoly board multiplied by the number of actors who have played James Bond. That's in the official films. I will not accept David Niven. Multiply those 2 together, you get your answer. Question number 7. 2 pop numbers for you to multiply. Name of Adele's most recent album and number of members in Nirvana. Multiply those together for your answer. Question 8. You'll almost certainly need to press pause on this one. I mean, it's hard. Number of Dalmatians in the second Glenn Close Dalmatian movie. And number of varieties touted by Heinz. Yeah, if you can do that without pressing pause, I'd rather you were working on an antidote than doing my quiz, frankly. Question 9. Number of books in Hilary Mantel's Wolf Hall series. Is it Mantel or Hilary Mantel? Number of books in Hilary Mantel's Wolf Hall series. Number of books in Hilary Mantel's Wolf Hall series. We've got both versions there in case, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Hillary, but Mantel or Mantels, I'm not sure what she prefers. And she's obviously great, so, you know, good luck. Multiply that by Song by Prince, which predicts the end of the world. although he was wrong by a couple of decades. And finally, question 10. Number of little birds in a Bob Marley song and name of an ice cream with a flake in it. Question 1, I asked you what these songs have in common. Tonight by New Kids on the Block, In Your Eyes by Kylie Minogue, Bicycle Race by Queen and Ashes to Ashes by David Bowie. Well, in Tonight by New Kids on the Block, New Kids reminded their fans that they taught them to hang tough. In Your Eyes by Kylie, Kylie asked whether the world was still spinning around. In Bicycle Race, Freddie says that some of the bicycle riders are fat-bottom girls. And of course in Ashes to Ashes, David Bowie name checks Major Tom. So the answer is they all reference other songs by the same artist. Fun. If you got that, I guess well done. Cool. Question 2 was the one about the Mediterranean islands. The biggest two are Sicily and Sardinia. They're both about 25,000 square kilometres. Thank you for asking. The next 3 are Cyprus, Corsica and Crete. They're all about 9,000 square kilometres. So it's good if you got that well done. And they're just some of the places we won't be visiting this summer. Okay, question 3, the Cokes in the right order, oldest to newest, go like this, okay? We start with Diet Coke, which launched way back in 1982. Then Cherry Coke, hot on its heels in 1985. And then pretty long gap before Vanilla Coke in 2002, Coca-Cola Zero Sugar in 2005, which is different from Diet Coke because I got nothing. And finally, Twisted Mango Diet Coke, which launched in 2018. And I can only assume means they're out of ideas. The good news is, for the good people of Coca-Cola, they've got the bottom of that barrel spotlessly clean. Twisted Mango Diet Coke. Get a grip on yourselves. Now then, question 4. What was the word coined by Richard Dawkins that describes a popular idea, image, or whatever? It's meme. He came up with the word meme in his book, The Selfish Gene. He's what I like to call brilliant. And question 5 was, is the Earth closer to the Sun on the 3rd of January or the 3rd of July? Well, weirdly enough, the answer is it's the 3rd of January. It's about 5 million kilometres closer. It's called the perihelion, if you want to get all technical about it. Or in layman's terms, it means the orbit of Earth around the Sun is shaped like an egg, not a ball. So that's interesting. If you were thinking, well, that would mean January would be warmer than July, it's nothing to do with that. Seasons aren't caused by distance from the Sun, they're caused by the planet's tilt on its axis. Not that months or seasons mean anything anymore. Stay indoors, wash your hands. Now, the answer to the multiplication sums. Question 6. Number of stations on the Monopoly board? 4, we all got that. Number of actors who played James Bond? Well, Connery, Lazenby, Moore, Dalton, Brosnan and Craig. That's 6. It's going to be 7 as soon as I get that part. Come on. Multiply them together, the answer is 24. Question 7. Adele's most recent album was 25. 3 members of Nirvana, so that's 75. Well done everyone. Question 8. Ramping up. Number of Dalmatians in the sequel with Glenn Close, that was 102 Dalmatians. Brilliant. Number of varieties touted by Heinz, 57. If you did this in your head, hats off, from at least 6 feet away, obviously. 102 times 57 is 5,814. Yeah, I got that because it's written down in front of me. Question 9. I asked you the number of books in Hilary Mantel's Wolf Hall series. Now 3. A song by Prince that predicts the end of the world, 1999. Multiply those and you get 5,997. Well done. Finally, question 10. Number of little birds in a Bob Marley song is 3. And name of an ice cream with a flake in it is 99. Multiply 3 and 99, you get 297. Right. Fun. Okay, question number 1. Only 2 people have ever won both a Nobel Prize and an Oscar. One was a playwright, the other was a musician. That's the clue. Name them. That's the question. Question number 2. Which Italian artist gave his name to a kind of sliced raw beef because he used a lot of red in his paintings? Question number 3. I'm looking for the name of 2 countries. I don't expect you to know this. I'm asking you to use your brain and work it out. Just an educated guess. You should get it. The country with the second most internet users in the world and the country with the most. It's basically a population question. Question 4. Classic TV. In 1983, the last ever episode of a certain sitcom was watched by 125 million people, making it the highest rated single television episode in history. Name that show. And our last general knowledge question of the day. In a standard pack of playing cards, which king does not have a moustache? Yeah, one of the kings doesn't have a moustache. Which one? You're probably going to guess. For the next 5 questions, I'm going to show you some images. When you say them out loud, you'll get the name of a TV show. If I showed you Sid Little, a tire, a knee and a kiss, you'd have Little Tire Knee Kiss, Little Tiny Quiz. I know it's not a TV show, but it gives you the idea. They're a little bit torturous, but you know, I've been busy. I haven't. I've literally had nothing else to do. Here's the first TV show question, question number 6. Okay, you see that? Okay, just say what you're looking at and you should get it. Okay, question number 7. Just look at the things and tell me what TV show is represented there. Here's another one. Today's question 8. Name that show. Okay, so question number 9. What TV show? And final TV question of the day, number 10. Okay, I asked you who has won both a Nobel and an Oscar. 2 people have done it. They are George Bernard Shaw and Bob Dylan. Yeah, Shaw got his Oscar for the 1939 Best Adapted Screenplay. That was for the movie of his play Pygmalion, which was later adapted as My Fair Lady, but that's not what we're talking about here. And Bob Dylan got an Oscar for Best Original Song. The film was Wonder Boys. The song was Things Have Changed. And they both got Nobel Prizes for chemistry. That's a joke. They're both got prizes for literature. Shaw got his in 1925 and Dylan got his in 2016. But being Dylan, he didn't accept it. And then being Dylan, he changed his mind and did accept it. Oh, classic Dylan. Question number 2 was which Italian artist gave his name to a kind of sliced raw beef because he used a lot of red in his paintings? You should have been thinking about beef carpaccio, and the artist was Vittore Carpaccio. Although if you just got Carpaccio, you obviously get the point. It's just a bit of fun. Question number 3 was the one about the countries with the most internet users in the world. Okay, so runner-up, India. And the winner, the country with the most internet users, is of course China. Okay, so basically a population question, but India and China respectively have the most and the second most internet users. Question 4 was looking for the most watched episode of a TV show ever. The answer is MASH, and have a bonus point if you use the little stars between the M, the A, the S and the H. Yeah. MASH also stands for Mobile Army Surgical Hospital, which I probably shouldn't have mentioned given the current climate. And then I asked in a standard pack of playing cards, which king does not have a moustache? And the answer is the King of Hearts, obviously. And now our TV shows, which were depicted in sound-alike pictures. Well, nearly sound-alike. I mean, if you got these, well done, please don't hate me. So what can you see? P, Key, blind, Daz. Yeah, the TV show is Peaky Blinders. Simple. Peaky Blinders. Of course it's Peaky Blinders. Now I say it's obvious. So that's Lou, C, and Fur. Lucifer. It's a TV show. It's on Amazon, I think. So we have some Grain and Jill from Jack and Jill. Grain, Jill. Grange Hill. Grange Hill. If you're watching anywhere outside of the UK, good luck with that one. Number 9. So that's a vole, a teat, and some hours. Vole, teat, hours. Fawlty Towers. Fawlty Towers? That's easier if you're mid-stroke. Fawlty Towers. Number 10. So we've got some corona. It's a bug that's going around at the moment. I don't know if you've heard about it. Asia and a street. Coronation Street. Coronation Street. My sincere apologies for that last one. What's the most common time on the watches in watch adverts? You can kind of work this out. I think just think of any watch advert you have ever seen. What time is it on the watch in the watch advert? Think of the back of any fancy magazine you've ever seen. Question 2. I just want to know who this is. The clue is it's one of the most famous people that ever lived. Question 3. You might want to pause after this and make a note. Okay? I'm going to give you 7 Cockney terms for amounts of money. I want you to put them in order, smallest to largest, right? Okay, geezers, here they come. Bullseye, monkey, ton, deep sea diver, grand, score, pony. So put those in order from lowest amount to highest amount. Bullseye, monkey, ton, deep sea diver, grand, score, and pony. And if you're saying them in that voice, fun. Question 4. Classic TV. How many episodes of Fawlty Towers were made? Easy enough. How many episodes of Fawlty Towers were made? I mean, maybe the best sitcom ever. Actually, if you want to pause and go and watch all of them, I will accept that. And our last general knowledge question, number 5. In the alphabet, there are 4 consecutive letters with horizontal symmetry. I hardly need tell you that means that the top half is a reflection of the bottom half. Capital letters. There's 4 of them in a row. Which ones? Name them. And the next half of the quiz is our hidden links round. So I'm going to give you 3 clues. The answers all have a connection. You only have to write down the connection. Don't bother writing down the clues. You got it? So question 6. 3 things to connect. Complete the line from The Big Lebowski. We will cut off your... what? Word repeated after shepherds in the Only Fools and Horses theme. Maker of the Cortina Carr. So 3 clues to 3 things. What connects them? If you're watching in America, the Only Fools and Horses thing will mean nothing, but you should get it anyway because it's easier for you. Okay, question 7. Your clues are major US airline based in Atlanta, in maths, circumference divided by diameter, and James Bond's watch brand. What connects those 3? Question 8. This time, your clues are snooker ball that's worth 2, things a horologist repairs, and what Mach 1 means. What connects those? Okay, time for question 9. Name of Mrs. Lee, who wrote To Kill a Mockingbird, New York borough that isn't the Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, or Staten Island, and character who says, but soft, what light from yonder window breaks? Finally, question 10. Part of the Titanic that hit the iceberg, animal with the scientific name Canis lupus, and big building with lots of guns and ammo. What connects them? Here are the answers to the general knowledge questions first. The most common time on watches in watch ads is 10 minutes past 10 or 10 to 2. This is partly because It makes a kind of smile shape, but more importantly, it frames the brand of the watch. If you put any time that sort of makes a smile shape, you can have a point. I mean, just give yourself a point. If you've shown up every day and done the quiz, have a bloody point. Question 2. I showed you this guy and asked you who he was. It's a picture of Mr. Charlie Chaplin. And incredibly, Charlie Chaplin once came second in a Charlie Chaplin lookalike competition. You kind of don't recognise him. Question 3 was one about Cockney money. And they go in this order. The smallest is a deep sea diver, which is of course a fiver. Next is a score, which is £20. Then a pony, which is £25 to you and me. Then we have a bullseye, which is worth 50 from darts. A ton is of course £100, and a monkey is £500. Finally, we have the grand, which is £1,000. That's in kind of popular parlance now, but all Cockney terms. If you got them all, congratulations, you are a Cockney. Question 4 was Fawlty Towers. How many episodes were made? Well, just 12. Only 12 episodes. That would only be half a season in America, just 12. But they are, every one of them, perfect. So, go and enjoy those. It's not as if you don't have time on your hands. And question 5 was the one looking for the 4 consecutive capital letters with horizontal symmetry. They are B, C, D, and E. I mean, you didn't have to look far in the alphabet. Next up, the answers to our Hidden Connections questions. Question 6 gave you 3 things to connect. Complete the line from The Big Lebowski. We will cut off your Johnson. Word repeated after shepherds in Only Fools and Horses was Bush, Bush. And the maker of the Cortina is Ford. So Johnson, Bush, Ford, they're all American presidents. Question 7 was major US airline based in Atlanta. Well, that was of course Delta. I imagine most of their aircraft are having a lovely rest in the hangars right now. In maths, circumference divided by diameter, that's of course pi, if you did your GCSEs. Not this year, you didn't. And James Bond's watch brand is Omega. So Delta, Pi and Omega, they're all Greek letters. Or I would have accepted fraternities in American movies. Question 8, I gave you these clues. Snooker ball that's worth 2. I always have to just go through the lyrics of Snooker Loopy, but it's yellow. Things a horologist repairs, he or she repairs clocks, and what Mach 1 means. Well, that's the speed of sound. So yellow, clocks, speed of sound, they're all Coldplay songs. Question 9 went like this. Name of Mrs. Lee, who wrote To Kill a Mockingbird. That was Harper Lee. New York borough that isn't the Bronx, Manhattan, Queens or Staten Island, that's Brooklyn. I imagine you've got it by now. Final one, character who said, but soft, what light through yonder window breaks? That is of course Romeo. So Harper, Brooklyn, Romeo, they're all Beckham's children. Finally, question number 10. The part of the Titanic that hit the iceberg was the hull, animal with the scientific name Canis lupus, wolves, and big building with lots of ammo, Arsenal. So Hull, Wolves, Arsenal, they're all Premier League football teams. Do you remember the Premier League? It's like a sports thing. You used to be able to watch it. It was entertaining because you all picked a team and then you followed the fortunes of that team. But there's no sports anymore, or fun. We've just got this. So I'll see you tomorrow for more of this.